Okay, so welcome. I'd like to change my view so I can see all of you. And wow, 2 pages worth of beautiful people here. So thank you. As we come towards, towards the closing part of this day, I think it's a really beautiful opportunity for us to drop into an embodied practice. This word has come up a couple of times in our conversation throughout the workshops today. This word embodiment, or what it means to live by way of embodied wisdom. And so when I come to speak about Sankalpa and Yoga Nidra today, these are practices, yes, but for teachers, space holders, or for anyone who aspires to be one of those, or even for your personal practice, they're actually tools for embodiments. They are tools that help us come back home to a truer sense of who we really are, aligning ourselves with a sense of purpose in this life. And whether we're moving through life actively, consciously seeking a sense of purpose or seeking truth or sat, whether we're conscious of that or not, it's kind of like a magnetic pull. Like we're always being drawn towards source. We're always being drawn toward truth. We just have a really, really good habit of getting in our own way, whether it is by way of thoughts or vrittis or samskaras or preconditioned thought patterns, preconditioned societal pressures about who we should be or what it means to be human or successful, what it means to be happy. A lot of these pressures over time have led us to seek things outside of ourselves, to seek love and joy, happiness, peace, connection, relationship, attention, connection. All of these things we have now come to think that those all exist outside of ourselves. And it's something that we need to obtain. It's something that we need to go out and grasp, which requires action. If we need to go out and get a thing or obtain a thing, it means that there needs to be some sort of action involved. So naturally, over time, as human beings, we've actually evolved into doing a lot and being less. And so in this workshop, when we dive deeper into Sankalpa, into Yoga Nidra, and more of these stillness-based or contemplative practices, for me, it always just feels like a homecoming. Like that feeling you get after a super long day, and you open the door and you sit down and you put your feet up, and it's just, we all know that feeling, right? Where you've like been traveling for a long time and you finally land, and it's just like, there's this just complete letting go, this sense of feeling at home, this sense of deep rest that is beyond physical, that is beyond energetic, that is beyond mental and emotional rest. I'm talking about that deep rest of inner alignment. When you are so aligned and connected to the truest essence of who you really are, that is what these practices can give you. These tools for embodiment, so that when you come to live through that sense of your truest self, and if some of you are like, I'm not sure what that means, the sense of true self or capital S self, you might see it sometimes. For me, it's helpful to resonate with the qualities of true self, qualities that might look or feel something like contentment or santosh, or ease, or relaxation, or that inner rest, or joy, bliss, connection. Those are all qualities of your true nature. And so when we feel that friction, that resistance, that fatigue, that longing, it's like those are all indicators that we have fallen away from our true self. Our true self is pure. When we are born, it is ever present, that pure essence right at birth. And then from that moment on, we are bombarded with life experiences and feeling tones and emotions and relationships and life circumstance and challenge and all of the things that over time naturally pull us away from that sense of who we really are. We create all of these neural pathways. We develop all of these habitual patterns over time. And in that, there becomes this identification with all that we are not. We come to identify ourselves with this body, this physical vessel, or we come to identify with feeling tones or emotions, right? Like, how often do you meet someone or pass someone by and you're like, hey, hi, how are you? And they're like, I'm good. And you're like, I'm good too. But it's like, I am good. What does that mean? I am good. I am good. It's like you may feel good for a moment, but emotions are meant to pass through us in about 90 seconds. How long do most of us hold on to an emotion? Days, weeks, months, years, decades, right? And what we think, we become. What we think, we become. Because the brain has no idea where we are in time and space. The brain has no idea where we are in time and space. The brain responds to where the mind takes us. So just sit with this for a moment. The brain responds to where the mind takes us. What we think, we become. There's a complementary biogeochemistry that happens when we think a thought. The brain responds. So, for example, if we are constantly stuck in this deep neural pathway, this recurring thought that's happening every day, all day, and it could be something from the past that's happened already, maybe a long time ago, and we keep thinking about it and sort of dwelling on it, the brain responds as if it's happening in that moment. So if it's an unhelpful thought, or maybe it was a particularly challenging situation, or a very harmful event, or something that caused you unrest or unhappiness or anger or frustration, if the mind keeps playing that story over and over again, the brain is like, oh my goodness, it's happening again. And the brain responds with that complementary biogeochemistry and sends out all of these stress hormones, actively increasing cortisol, stress hormones in our body. So the body is reacting as if it is happening now. It's really, really fascinating. And I'll explain a little bit more about why I'm talking about this, but I really want to give you the context of these tools, Sankalpa and Yoga Nidra, because it's really bringing us back home to the truth that is beyond thoughts. Who we really are beyond thoughts, beyond emotions, beyond this physical vessel. Who are we beyond all of that? Yoga Nidra is a practice of Laya Yoga, or dissolution. From Advaita Vedanta, it is a practice of coming to understand or to know all that we are not. This practice of negation, so that we can effortlessly come back home to the truest essence of who we really are. In coming to know all that we are not, we effortlessly return back home to who we truly are. The beauty of Yoga Nidra is that it brings you there completely effortlessly. You don't have to try. There's nothing you need to do. How many of you have practiced Yoga Nidra? Yes? Yes? How good does it feel? Oh, yeah. You're like, when are we getting to the practice component? But how good it feels, that's also an indicator of Yoga Nidra is like this beautiful touchstone. Like you're touching the essence of your true nature. It's so beautiful. The essence of bliss, or ananda. It's like, ah. And every time we come to that place, that remembering of who we really are, the qualities of who we really are, then in our waking state, we embody that. We embody that wisdom. We embody the truth of who we really are. Imagine looking through a new pair of glasses that is bliss, that only sees beauty, that only sees truth. Yoga Nidra is like taking off the lens of those preconditioned thought patterns, those samskaras, those grooves and putting on a new pair where it's just clear eyes and you're seeing through this lens of truth and bliss and joy and contentment, and everything just is. So naturally what arises is acceptance and beauty and contentment, and then life is just joyous and easeful. So naturally start to live a life of calm, present awareness. This is the embodiment of it. This is the lived component of it. This is how we come to live yoga. Not only, Zamir was talking about these different components of yoga, not only as a practice on our mat, yes, but as living yoga. What does it look like to live it? How are you when you step off of your mat? You know, we can spend 1 hour, maybe 2 hours a day on our mat, moving, breathing, feeling in certain ways. But then do you step off of the mat and maybe go to a job or go to meet up with a friend? And how do you react or respond in that kind of situation? Are you responding from that place of peace and calm, or do we drop right back into those preconditioned thought patterns and reactive states, right? So when we talk about embodiment, it's about living yoga off of the mat. And so for today, as we dive into Sankalpa and Yoga Nidra, these are really, again, tools for embodiment, because as space holders or as teachers or aspiring guides of yoga, you can tell when someone walks into a space who is guiding a class. Are they living yoga? You can often tell by their body language, their energy, the way that they move through the space, the way that they interact with others. If they're sort of like frantic and rushing around, or they show up late, right? There's all these different indicators. And of course, life circumstance happens, and we're often ebbing and flowing throughout a day in our seasons. But if we can come to embody the calm presence and awareness and mindfulness that these tools give us, then when we are teaching, we come to teach from that place. If we are living truth, compassion, awareness, joy, peace, bliss, then when we come to speak and share, we are teaching from that place authentically. So it's not about reading a script. It's not about memorizing textbooks, because we will be studying yoga for 10,000 years. Everyone hop on board. This is a lifelong journey. And we are forever students. But this is what I would love to really bring into this conversation today, is circling back to the embodiment of really living that truth. And Sankalpa and Yoga Nidra can help you get to that place. So let's touch on Sankalpa. This word Sankalpa. You can say it out loud with me. Sankalpa, Sankalpa. Yes. So if we break it down, if we're looking at the roots of the word Sankalpa, San has many, many different translations. The one that resonates most with me is born from the heart. Born from the heart. It is truth, or sat, that is born from your heart. So there's no need to think about it. It's nothing analytical or cognitive. It is something that is already existing. It lives within you. It is born from your heart. And kalpa refers to 1 year of Brahma, 1 year of Brahma, which is 4.32 billion years, which is a really long time in the yogic tradition. So when we're working with Sankalpa, it is a truth that is born from your heart, that remains true over time, over a long time, over 4.32 billion years to be exact. So born from your heart, this truth. And in practice, we can use Sankalpa to be like a guiding light, to be like a lighthouse or a North Star, right? When I was speaking about connecting to purpose or seeking truth, we can oftentimes in life feel like we're floating around in a boat in the middle of the ocean with no rudder. Has anyone ever felt this way? Like you're floating around, you're not quite sure, maybe this is for me, maybe I'll move to that place, maybe I'll try this new, right? We're sort of like floating around, wandering, right? Wandering. And sankalpa is like giving you that udder, that rudder that just is that driving force that gives you direction. And it's not only direction that gives you a sense of purpose in your life, but it's also direction that gives you a sense of purpose that contributes to the spinning wheel of Dharma. You're calling it in practice, sort of like an affirmation or what some might call an intention or a resolve or a vow. So in practice, you can think of bringing it in this way, but it's so much more than that. It's not like a goal to be set or something to be achieved. It's something to be lived. It's something to be remembered. And it gives you direction and offers you that guiding force in this life. It's so powerful. And today we'll take more of a beginner friendly perspective for anyone that's new to this, but I'll also speak to sort of more of the grand scheme of Sankalpa and contributing to the whole or the benefit of all sentient beings, because it is so powerful. Remember, what we think we become. So when we start to work with Sankalpa and say we're bringing it in each and every day, this heartfelt resolve, this vow to show up, the studies have shown that it takes only 40 days to create one new neural pathway. So this will be your homework. I give you 40 days to work with a sankalpa that you cultivate today, or one that you borrow that I offer, and just see what happens. Whether you are bringing sankalpa into Yoga Nidra, which is a very, very beautiful and powerful place to plant the seed of sankalpa, because working with sankalpa in the present state is powerful in the waking state, but when we plant it into the depth of the subconscious mind, into that open, receptive container of space, that void of infinite potential in Yoga Nidra, it has much more power. So in your waking state, yes, you can, write it down, put it on the fridge, have it around. The more you see it, the more you're going to sort of enhance that neural pathway, because neurons that fire together wire together. But then also bring it into your practice, this truth of who you really are that contributes to the higher Dharma, not only to your life and your life's purpose. Yes, you can work with that, but something bigger. And I think it's maybe why we're all here, is that we're asking these bigger questions in life. Yes, right? We're wondering, we're starting to ask the why. Why am I here? I mean, this beautiful life, like, okay, I'm here and now what? So sankalpa, truth that is born from your heart, that exists over time, that is true over time. Some references of this from the Upanishads, for example. I love reading the ancient texts because it really brings us back to the birth of this wisdom. And in the Chandogya Upanishad, it speaks to sankalpa. And this is a rough translation. It's very difficult to take Sanskrit, which is so poetic and in depth and embedded with so much energy, and translate it into English, which is a little bit dry. But it says, man is made of sankalpa. As is one's sankalpa, so one becomes. Man is made of sankalpa. As is one sankalpa, so one becomes. Remember that introduction, what we think we become, but this is so much more than that. It's deeper than thought. You are made of sankalpa. You are made of this truth. It's already ingrained deep within you. All it takes is a little bit of remembering. And Yoga Nidra can bring you into that place of remembering and then also planting that seed. So you can start to see how these two practices go together. It's deeper than thought. And then again in the Upanishads, a person becomes good by good intention, or sankalpa, and bad by bad intention. It's very simple. A person becomes good by good intention, and bad by bad intention. So here it's speaking to sankalpa as the seed of karma. It invites us to look deeply at our thoughts, at how we are moving through the world. It invites us to slow down and start to connect the dots of, are we reacting to a certain situation? What is the thought that is arising? How do I feel in this body? So you're starting to like trace it backwards and look deeply at those imprints, look deeply at those thoughts. Because if we're living by way of good intention, then only good will come. If we're living by way of good intention, then only good will come. And not only good intention for ourselves, which is so important because it has a ripple effect, not only for those in our close relationship, our partners, our families, the children, the broader community, but it's a good intention for the world. What we think we become. And it's something that you must believe to be true. One of my teachers, Richard Miller, would say, it's like an unshakable truth that is unique to you. Your path, your dharma, the individual dharma is uniquely yours. Is uniquely yours. So this sankalpa that leads you onto that path will be uniquely yours. You can borrow different sankalpas, yes, of course. But the one that is true for you, that will remain true over billions of years, comes from your heart, evolves over time, and is unique to you. And it takes time. There's no rush to formulate this. You're like, okay, so maybe in today's practice, I might formulate a sankalpa that's going to lead me on the path towards the higher dharma. Maybe, right? But this is a humble journey. This is a lifelong journey. And it is a path. So we may wander from that path and we will always come back. In the Yoga Sutras, the sankalpa functions as an intention that shapes the vrittis. Vrittis are like thought waves, these mental patterns. So even in the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali is speaking to sankalpa as an intention that can help shape the vrittis. Because if you think where awareness goes, energy flows. And sometimes these neural pathways, these thought patterns are so deeply engrooved, like we've been living by their side since we were young. Those have the depth of like the Grand Canyon. So when the water is like, which way am I going to flow? It's obviously going to flow that way because it's been flowing that way. We've been thinking that way habitually for so long that it happens without us even being conscious of it, right? But 99% of these thought patterns are really, really helpful. There's probably about 1% of these thought patterns that are maybe not helpful, like limiting beliefs, for example. So it's those negative thought patterns that really are influenced and even dissolve over time with the use of this good intention. Because if you're directing every day for 40 days, if you're directing all of that energy, all of that attention, all of your awareness towards one thing that is positive and of good intent with purpose to contribute to something bigger, all of the other things that, all of the other neural pathways, all the ones that might take you away from that start to lose intensity. They start to lose they start to lose their fuel, right? Like they become weakened over time because you are so committed to this good intention. My teacher Indu would say it is a vow to show up. Sankalpa is a vow to show up. We all know that the world is going in one direction. We all know that the world is going in one direction. And so these are also tools for embodiment, but also for resiliency. And I believe strongly that what we do here, the positive intention, amplifying the frequency, bringing more peace, love, presence, calm into our lives, connection, not only to ourselves, to each other, but also the planet, connecting to the Dharma, the nature of life itself, like connecting to all of that amplifies this frequency. So it has a massive global impact. It might seem small, but it's really, really big. So again, bringing this back to if you feel that call to share or teach one day, great. If not, that's great too, because in its nature, embodying and living yoga has a ripple effect. I spent years, seeing people in my close circle who were moving through very challenging situations in life. And, I've been teaching yoga for over 11 years, and I felt like I had this golden platter of tools and possibilities and practices. And I was like, here, try one of these. I think they will help. And, everyone, thank you. Like, I've heard about this, but not for me. And there's this resistance. But in living it and embodying it, and people see how you're moving through the world with that grounded, calm presence, living in truth, living in that beauty, that presence, that connection, they see that and they're like, oh, Peter, like, you seem very calm and grounded. Like, what is it that you're doing? And then they start to, it's like a moth to a flame. So even if you're not here to one day teach or guide yoga in a studio setting, for example, you're making a massive contribution to bringing more peace into the world just by living that. So we'll be connecting to our Sankalpa today, and we'll be diving into a short practice of Yoga Nidra because it is a perfect place to bring in Sankalpa, yes, but it's also a perfect place of resting and integration after everything that you have heard and learned today. From all of us here, we wanted to share with you what we truly love. And as Zamir once said in a closing circle after one of our YTTs or programs, it was like, I think he shared, he felt like he was like a mother bird just vomiting all of this information out to you, right? And it's like we're there trying to receive, but you don't have to take it all in. It's like take what you need, leave the rest behind for now. But if there's one thing from this that has really landed with you, like take it and chew on it and like digest it for a while. There's no rush. These are only tools that are going to help you live a more embodied life that is full of peace and calm and presence and joy. No matter what's going on in the world around you, these are tools for resilience. They're increasing your window of tolerance. They're giving you like those deep roots of an ancient cedar tree. So no matter what storms may come, no matter what tsunamis may arise, no matter the earthquakes, it's like you stay rooted and strong no matter what. No matter what. And I think that it helps us really meet the intensity of our times. So these are really, really important practices to cultivate now. I really believe that to be true. So I'd like to invite us for a moment before we come to our practice to just sit up nice and tall, close down through the eyes, and bring both of your hands into a mudra by drawing the tips of the thumbs and the index fingers to touch very gently. And then take the left hand palm facing down to cup the knee, and bring the right hand palm facing in to cup the space of your heart, known as Mahagyan Mudra. Mudra of great wisdom, Maha great, Gyan wisdom. And just allow the physical body to soften. Allow the breath to be at ease. And allow awareness to settle down and into the space of your beautiful heart. And just begin to intimately connect to your heart. The heart suspended in the cavity of the chest, nestled between the lungs, protected by the rib cage. You might notice, sense, or feel the physical presence of the heart, the heartbeat. This natural rhythm, this pulse of vital life force energy or prana. beating inside of your chest, always beating. In fetal development in the womb, the heart is the very first organ to develop, long before the brain. So we are born heart first. As we age, we lose this sense of connection. And yet there are much more neurochemical signals that move from the heart to the brain than the brain to the heart. The heart responds much more quickly to anything happening outside of ourselves long before the brain has a moment to discern the situation. So the heart always knows the way. It will never lead you astray. And so as you breathe into the space of the heart, you might imagine or visualize the little bud of a lotus flower, tightly bound. And welcome each breath as the nourishment, the light, the energy that this little bud needs, the courage to open and unfurl its petals. One by one, revealing its true essence, its fragrance, colors, and beauty. Breathing into the space of the heart, resting in the company of the heart. And listen. Notice if there is a song in the heart. It might arise in the form of a word, just a single word. It might be an expression of how the heart feels in this moment. Or there might be a soft, gentle longing, or a reflection of why you came here today. What is it that the heart is seeking? This word might be truth, or love, patience, clarity, connection, forgiveness. Just take a moment here now to allow the heart to reveal the truth of its nature in this moment. If a word arises, mentally repeat it now a few times, breath by breath. And then notice if you can welcome the feeling tone of it. What does peace feel like? Or truth? Or love? What does it feel like as a somatosensory experience? Slowly start to deepen the breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out through the mouth. Begin to rub the palms together. Feel the heat, the prana, the energy between the palms. Take warm palms over top of closed eyes. Taking a breath into the healing darkness behind closed eyes, the mystery of life itself. Exhale through the mouth. So you start to peel the palms away. You can very gently start to flutter the eyes back open. And so let us take this experience into our practice. If you'd like to take a moment to journal or write down a word or a reflection of what came up for you, or just what it feels like to connect to your heart, to just sit in the company of your heart, what does that feel like? And then I invite you to take a moment. You can stand up, you can shake it out. We will be transitioning into a comfortable, relaxed position for a guided practice. So you may wish to come to lie down on a yoga mat on the earth, or you may wish for more comfort. You can settle down into your bed or on the couch, holding on to this presence, this calm, this relaxation you may have cultivated in just a short time. Yoga Nidra is traditionally practiced in Shavasana or corpse pose, with the arms extended, palms to the sky, the legs extended, feet relaxed outward. Just taking your time, there's no rush. If lying down on the back of the body doesn't feel supportive for you today, please reach for pillows, blankets, an eye pillow, or covering. You can find a position that feels as good as Shavasana. Just a place where you can surrender to gravity, but not so comfortable that you may fall asleep. Something just right. Take the time to notice if there might be anything you could do to become even 1% more comfortable. Adjusting the position of the head and the neck. Shoulders and the arms. Hands. Adjusting the pelvis and the hips. Legs. Feet. Toes. The whole body settling back and down and into stillness. Releasing any desire for movement and allowing it to dissolve into a desire for stillness. There's nothing that you need to do, nowhere that you need to go but in. Allow the eyelids to become heavy. And allow the eyes themselves to relax back and down. softening the inner and outer creases of the eyes. Relax the forehead, front and back. Relax and unhinge the lower jaw. The teeth might part. Softening the outer creases of the mouth. Muscle of the tongue. Allowing the weight of the head and the neck to rest back and down. Feel the weight of the skull. Allow the shoulders to soften. The chest to open. And the arms to become heavy. Feel the activity of gravity. The density of the arms. Relax the hands. Unfurling all 10 fingers. Breath by breath. Allowing the body parts to become heavy. Surrendering to gravity. A wave of relaxation cascades from shoulders down to the hips. Cardiovascular organs. Low belly and abdominal organs. Relax the pelvic floor and pelvic floor organs. Feel the weight of the pelvis and the hips. And allow the legs too to become heavy. Relax the feet. Feel the weight of the heels. Softening into all 10 toes. The whole body. Resting on the earth. Heavy and dense. Like a fallen tree. Ancient and wise. Resting on the forest floor. Every exhale, the body becoming heavier and heavier and heavier, as if you could sink 1 inch deeper down into the ground with every breath. Bring awareness to the crown of the head and begin to mentally trace 3 golden rings of light around the whole body from right to left to right side. In your own gentle way, enveloping the whole body in golden orb. The whole body resting in a protective cocoon of golden light. Hiranyagarbha, a golden womb. Nothing coming in, nothing going out. Deep rest abides here now. As the body and mind drift into sleep, allow the mind, awareness to remain bright. An acute sense of awareness remains. Welcoming this awareness down and into the space of your heart. You may wish to bring forth that single word, like a secondary sankalpa, something that the heart needs in this moment to bring you back into wholeness, to bring you peace, like an antidote. Or you may wish to borrow the sankalpa. I open to the wisdom of my true nature and act freely from this truth. Or you may resonate with the mantra Soham, I am. Welcoming your sankalpa now. I open to the wisdom of my true nature and act freely from this truth. Or Soham, I am. Repeat it now mentally 3 times. Your chosen resolve. And imagine as if your sankalpa could be here now. Welcome it to be here now as a felt sense. Deeply resting. As awareness is free to flow throughout the body. Following the guidance of my voice, bring awareness up to the center of the forehead. Noticing sensations and consciously welcome deep rest into the center of the forehead. From the center of the forehead, relax the eyebrows. temples, cheekbones, the radiant orbs of the eyes, eyelids, tip of the nose, the whole outer architecture of the nose, nasal flares, both lips, space between the lips, tip of the tongue, root of the tongue, lower jaw, center of the throat, relaxing front, back, both sides of the neck, center of the chest. Relax both sides of the upper chest, dividing awareness into both collarbones, shoulders, front and back, down to the elbows, wrists, both hands, all 10 fingers. From the base of the fingers to the fingertips, relax into the spaces between the fingers. From fingertips, awareness gently glides back into the space of the heart, the center of the chest, descending down to the navel center, the navel center, pooling into both hips, both knees, ankles, heels, both feet, all 10 toes, softening into the spaces between the toes. Sensing, feeling, resting deeply into all 10 toes, both feet, both legs, the whole trunk of the body, arms and hands, neck and head, the whole body, the whole body. Trillions of cells, an inner landscape of multi-dimensional cosmic vibration. Feel the body resting from the inside out. Resting and breathing into the space of the heart. With every exhale, welcome breath and awareness to descend deeper and deeper and deeper down into the cave of the heart. The Hrid Akash, the heart seat of consciousness. Resting in the company of the heart, the essence, the truth of your Sankalpa. I open to the wisdom of my true nature and act freely from this truth. Or so I am. The body and the mind asleep, and yet awareness is bright like a star. The ocean of awareness, and you are the ocean. Begin to notice your breath. And slowly start to deepen your breath. As awareness remains in the space of the heart. Start to sense and feel the physical presence of the body resting on the earth. The earth beneath the body. And in your own time, begin to release the 3 golden rings of light from around the body. And start to welcome back in sounds. The space around you. Where you are in the space. And take a deep and generous breath in through the nose. Slow, masterful exhale through the mouth. On the next inhale, 2 sips in through the nose. 1 breath out through the mouth. Again, 2 sips in. 1 breath out. And just take a few moments here now to notice and savor how you feel. This is a practice of deep remembering. Remembering the essence of your true nature. When you feel ready, you might start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. You can begin to nod the head gently from side to side, or reach the arms up overhead and just find a nice big long stretch through the body. Taking your time, newly reborn. And yet more deeply connected to the truth, Sat, of your being, of life itself. Eventually, you can gently press yourself up to an upright seated position. You may keep the eyes closed or hold on to a soft gaze if that feels good. And as you are emerging from this most blissful place, just like to close with a mantra to our Devi Nidra. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Nidra Rupena Sansita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaha. How you feel, hold on to it and see how long it lasts. In this way, we come to live by and even maybe one day teach from this place. Thank you all so much for joining me in this practice. So grateful for each and every one of you. So, as we emerge out of this dreamy state, I always encourage my students, this is a really powerful time to honor mauna or sacred silence, but given our workshop container here today, you may wish to journal, or if you have questions, you can post them in the chat. Or some people emerge out of Yoga Nidra feeling really energized, like they've just been plugged in and recharged. And if you feel that, maybe you feel called to ask a question. So we can take some time here now. If anyone wants to share, you can comment on how you feel, or you can write a word in the chat. Just let us know. I see Zamir had asked a previous question. Can you give an example of sankalpa? So just quickly, I discern the difference between a primary sankalpa and a secondary one. The primary one I really spoke to today because I feel like there's so much power in that. And this is the one that speaks to connecting to our purpose that contributes to the wheel of Dharma, to the benefit of all sentient beings in the world. That one takes time to cultivate. In the meantime, you can work with something known as a secondary sankalpa, which is what we explored today. And it's very simple, just to maybe work with a single word. So something that your heart needs, or if you're faced with a challenge on a particular day, what might be the antidote to that challenge, the opposite? So maybe you're calling in peace or love or joy or courage. And once you work with that secondary sankalpa enough and it comes back into existing reality, then you can let it go. You can let it go, and that clears the pathway for perhaps your primary sankalpa to come through. Remember, sankalpa is a positive statement. It's with good intention, positive, and it's present, it's here, it's now, it's not in the future. And it's something you believe to be true. You can even take that one word and turn it into something like an I am statement. Like if you're calling in peace, I am peaceful, loving, and kind. I am, and believe it, because what we think we become. I am peaceful, loving, and kind. Something that you believe. I love working with the mantra Soham. I am that. I am all that there is. I am. I was in and out like a fresh breeze. I love that, Sotiria. Yeah, that was just about 15, 20 minutes maybe. So a full length practice is about 60 to 75. So we touch on a few of the koshas here. So some of you might be experienced with my longer practices. Leanne says, that was epic. My heart is lighter. Mariko Labria, I feel at home. Blissful. How do you keep from just getting up and abandoning your practice when you feel bored or anxious or angsty? How do you deal with thoughts or images? Yes, Henry, the busy, overactive mind is something that's very common, especially in today's world and culture. What I highly recommend is bringing in some Yoga Nidra pre-practices. So pre-practices can really help to set the tone and create the most ideal environment for you to drop into a state of Yoga Nidra, or even just to achieve a state of deep relaxation. So if we arrive to our practice feeling anxious or feeling bothered or feeling tension in our body or an overactive mind, it's almost near impossible for us to achieve a state of Yoga Nidra because our awareness is embedded into the different layers of our being. Koshas will be a whole other workshop, or you can come to our YTT, but pre-practices to help relieve physical tension from the body, like some gentle movement, or maybe a gentle yin yoga practice. If you're feeling energetically imbalanced, breath work or some gentle down regulating pranayama or breathing exercises can be really nice before Yoga Nidra. My teacher Indu suggests sometimes one slow round of Surya Namaskar. I've also heard other teachers who suggest a very cold shower. Yeah, any sort of technique, it requires us again to really come to know ourselves, because in that knowing, then we can discern and decide what practices we need to bring in to restore balance. So everything that Sotiria also shared today about just like tuning in and like listening, and Marie touched on that as well, as like listening. It's like, what do I need in this moment? Okay, I'm feeling a lot of physical tension, so we'll bring in some movement. So there are definitely some things, and do not become bored of peace. Do not become bored of peace. We are trained to become bored of peace. We live in a world full of distractions and lights and shiny things, but my invitation to you is to not become bored of peace, to linger in that silence that Lalita was speaking about today. Thoughts and images, thoughts and images, those things will arise when the mind is busy, and that's okay too. So there are many, many practices that you can use to help quiet the mind before. Chanting, yes. Oh, chanting, mantras. Absolutely. Yes. So I know that we have about 15 minutes left, so let's open the floor if anyone has any questions from the whole day. You can come off of mute, you can raise your hand, you can post them in the chat. If you want to stay in silence, you can write them to us later. back to our gallery view. Okay, I'll pause this.